Hello, I'm Jessie Gray. Welcome to Personalities. Today we have a guest who I think is probably one of the most original and remarkable people I've read about, at least in the United States. Dr. Ann Wigmore. She's a live food nutritionist and a minister. She's located in Boston at the Hippocrates Health Institute. We'll learn much more about her work. She's written a number of books. Two of the major ones are Why Suffer and Be Your Own Doctor. We'll discuss her books later. Thank you for being our guest today.
Great joy indeed to be here.
You've had a long trip. You've come from Boston this morning, and
yes.
we planned this interview last week, which this tape will be shown 2 weeks from now, was during the big snowstorm we had in the beginning of February, and we're trying to get this interview done before the next one. We were just discussing before the show that Ann Wigmore went right back to Boston and taking 11 hours for a 4-hour trip on the train. And she saw in Boston lines of people going into these stores trying to stock up on food. There was actually a food emergency in Boston, whereas at the Hippocrates Health Institute, people were self-contained, weren't they? You could have gone on for weeks, really?
Yes, actually months. We have proven that this we call grow your own food through seeds does not only emergencies, but of course there's many other good things about it. But this experience was very, very heartwarming to see the lines and lines of people and in a cold, real cold weather, waiting. And we didn't have to go to any stores for the whole week. And naturally, as I said, we could, with seeds, plenty seeds in the house, you could make all kinds of things. We could make like sprouts here from a couple of tablespoons of seeds. You make this wonderful quart jar.
We could show these more later. They're alfalfa
yes.
sprouts. In other words, you have seeds which you sprout and grow.
And that's one of the things. But now actually, from wheat alone, you see this little bit of wheat here, I could grow, or rather not only grow, but prepare 8 different things from wheat alone, this little bit of wheat. Different milk, cereals, not cooked, by the way, nothing. See, I'm raw food nutritionist, so naturally we don't have a stove.
Right, we want to get into that later,
yes.
Why you believe in raw foods.
But it was so beautiful because there I was in an apartment besides the Institute. We have about 60 people, and nothing was worrying us as far as food goes. And everybody's healthy and very, very happy. They don't have to step out of the house for food or anything else, as a matter of fact.
I met 2 people here in New York who had been to your institute in Boston, and we might describe the Hippocrates Health Institute. You are a minister, and of course there's an emphasis on not any formal religion, but on, I guess, a spirituality, and also on health through raw foods. Am I right?
As because being a minister, realizing there were so few, let's say, the spiritual people have recognized the importance of keeping this house, the temple, I call it, the body, in a good shape so that mentally one be alert and aware of what's happening, not only to themselves but also around the world, so they could, around everywhere, so they can do something, because that's our mission, really, coming to the earth to help each other. And then automatically you become spiritual because you're able to do the things. In other words, serve, be kindly and loving. If you're not healthy and you're worried, sick, you're naturally grummy. You know, let's face it. So this is the reason that I stress the point of the physical.
Physical and spiritual.
Yes, that comes automatic.
At the Institute, the 2 people I know who had come, one I guess was a pre-diabetic and the other had various ailments. They came, were cured, and I met them in their New York apartment. They were growing all of their food that they needed, really, in their New York City one-room apartment. Looked radiant with health. This was 2 years later.
Well,
and we're living on 29 cents a day, they said.
Well, this is the beautiful part about it. The people, they embrace this type of existence or lifestyle in the city, whatever apartment. I have my own apartment, I grow everything. And the Institute, we say we have 60 people. But the most beautiful thing about it, that when you say cure, there is no cure for anything because the body heals itself. And I don't like the word at all because the fact cure means treating it, some way. Now, when you give the body the environment, especially the nourishment which is in living state as nature provides, the body gets healthy and heals itself. This is the most beautiful, and I like to contribute this tremendous gift that has made it manifest in that body and heal anything, no matter what it is.
People have come to you with cancer, everything, I guess.
Well, cancer is only that there's a difference in cancer than other disease because it's been a long-standing. You see, we have 3 stages of disease. One is we call acute, means you have pain or swelling or cold or fatigue. That means the body is telling you, do something, really, I need help. So when you suppress that condition, then you have the chronic, which is arthritis, maybe diabetes, and whatever the names, you just name it. Because basically there's only one problem, deficiency, body gets off the balance, and then pollutes the bloodstream, and then these manifest, you see. So if nothing is done with this, we call a chronic problem. I call problems, health problems, not, disease.
Not a disease.
And then you have cancer, you have multiple sclerosis, and you have all kinds of degenerative disease because nobody's done anything about it. And suppress that problem, it gets bigger and worse and worse.
So that all disease or all health problems, as you might say, stem from the same source?
Same source, because the body is off the balance, because it's deficient, and then it pollutes. That means it manifests in the form of growth, whatever other things, like if you have fatigue, that means your body is toxic. You're not able to elevate this wonderful energy which is in the body to do things.
Now, you said this in your book, there is no cure, as you just said here, for anything. The body's health must be rebuilt before the body can heal itself, and to rebuild the body's health, we must feed the body living, organically grown, uncooked foods.
Right.
Is this true for any health problem? Is it the same cause and the same cure?
Absolutely, absolutely, because there again, the body, of course, everybody's different. Now remember, if I embrace a lot of juices. I like it because I'm very, very busy. I work 18 hours a day when I'm home. And in order to be able to get this nourishment through sprouts and greens and many other things, I juice everything because I can talk and sip my juice. So I don't have to sit down and chew it for an hour. You see, that's what I do it. But I'm not saying that's good for you. Get the idea. Everybody's different. So I think that this sprout here, you could chew it and get so much energy from it. And some people put it in a salad, but I juice it. That's all.
Now, you say you juice it. Do you not eat any roughage? We're
Yes,
just
I
hearing
have
more and
one.
more that roughage is important.
I eat more or less one salad a day, but I don't, through the day I don't eat.
We'll go to the sprouts individually in a minute.
Yes.
What is the basis? And here I think you're unique. You differ from other doctors and anybody in the nutrition field of the raw foods. What is the reason for that?
Well, the reason, let's say that we differ, I differ from, and the ones that the Institute differ, as far as the, we call healers, we are really teachers. We teach people how to help themselves, how to understand. Like I said, it's good, the juice is good for me, it may not be for you.
How do you know that? How does
because
somebody
you
know
have
that?
to detect it. Only you that knows what your body needs, how much it needs, and what it needs. So we teach people how to understand, become aware of the body's needs. So once you understand and begin to get interested in your own self, that is the care of the body, then the body indefinitely be healthy. There's no need to be sick, because sickness to me is unnatural, absolutely unnatural.
Why do you choose raw foods?
Because it's the only way that you can provide the body with the elements. You see, the body needs the elements that's in the ground. Let's say over 100 elements, which we call different kinds of minerals and so forth, and the body has to have the same amount, you see. Well, what it happens to get the same amount from the growing seeds, fruits, vegetables, as comes up, without tampering, without cooking, without packaging, then it gets into the body through that means, you see. And it's energy. And actually, it's energy that gives us to do things. This is what it's all about. This food is energy.
You mean vitamins and minerals are lost in cooking? That we know.
Of course.
What about enzymes? People don't even know what they are.
My dear, enzymes are more sensitive than anything else. Enzymes are the process that the food is being digested. In other words, they are catalysts between the, they arrange the foods for the cells. In other words, they're catalysts. If we do not have enzymes, we will not be able to convert the different kinds of foods and certain things that we need, the body needs. So enzymes, so important that actually they're the key to health and youth.
What, I think I know the answer. They're enzymes in raw foods. They're destroyed in cooking.
Absolutely. And packaging or anything else is done to bottling anyway, it is destroyed.
Therefore, you could eat the healthiest diet in the world, and if you cooked it, it would be dead.
Absolutely. It's inactive, let's say. I don't like the word. It's actually does not able to do the job it's necessary to do in a body, because we know there's so much talk about vitamins, but does not say what kind of vitamins. You can have the inactive vitamins and you can have the live vitamins. Only live vitamins are as nothing done to it. I take this sprout here, for instance. This is filled with vitamins and also energy, of course. Energy is vitamins. So what I do, I grind this up here in my palm of the hand, and I will leave it 15 minutes. It will denature itself. When I say denature, it means oxidize. The vitamins will go in the air. This is what happens in a very short period.
So if you can grind it up and still leave it raw, but let it sit 15 minutes,
well,
and it deoxidizes or oxidizes, then I guess cooking is 10 times worse.
Well, of course, and anything like acid, hot, even without cooking, it can destroy the enzymes.
Let's go to the basis of your diet. You said for yourself it's juice. A lot of people would worry, too, about the need for protein and if they're getting enough and all of those things.
When you say protein, it depends what kind of protein, again. Now, you take food, like we see here, you see the wheatgrass soakings, you see the sprouts, you see the greens.
Let's go to them one individually and I'll hold them up.
Well, the poor thing's got a little bit frozen.
That's all right. You brought them all the way from Boston, and we appreciate it. These are sunflowers.
Sunflower greens. They are 7 days old. Of course, they get a little bit...
How are these grown?
They're grown in the earth, 1 inch earth, in any kind of tray.
Just a small tray, 1 inch of earth. And then where do you get the seeds? From a health food store?
You can buy them in any store because they're with hulls on them. You see, they have hulls.
You don't use the hull. You use the ones with the hulls.
With the hulls, yes. And you put them in, you soak them and put them on top of the earth.
How long do you soak them?
Oh, overnight.
Overnight.
Then you put an identical tray over the top, so keep it moist for 3 days. And then after 3 days, you wet it. And in 7 days, you have salad greens.
When you take
they have protein, my dear.
When you take the tray off, what are they, small white shoots?
They're very, small. Yes, about 2
Do you have to then leave them in the light for them to grow to this?
Absolutely. That's what it needs, light. For the sun to get through, it makes chlorophyll. That's what...
Now, as I understand it, as seeds and beans and such things are sprouted, they increase tremendously in vitamin content and enzyme content and everything else.
Let's go back to the protein. Now, this also, you call it sprout. All the things has protein. The wheat, everything.
These are just handfuls of alfalfa seed sprouts.
You see, in food, you got to have protein. Some protein in everything, my dear. Don't you see?
There is protein in all of these greens, but are they complete proteins? Do you have to combine them?
Well, actually, what we have done so far, very, very, let's say, excellent results, is to ferment sunflower seed. It becomes pre-digested protein with amino acids. When I say pre-digested, you see, when you're dealing with sick people, generally the digestion matter is very important. So we feel that the sprouts, especially mung beans, they all have protein. Everything, beans, sprouted, and any seeds have protein. But to give this extra, there is plenty protein. Actually, more than if you had, say, meat protein. Meat protein is a denatured protein. When I say denatured, nothing in the protein should be eaten alone, pure. because the body can't assimilate it. You see, you take sunflower, the body can assimilate as much, proportionally the same amount of protein in sunflower as in meat. But because the sunflower is with elements, with all kinds of elements, the body can utilize about 90% of it. But when it's denatured in meat, cooked without any elements with it, only about 30% the body can utilize.
So the protein in these sprouts is much more assimilable.
That's right.
Assimilable, or whatever it is. Let's go on to people who don't know. How would they sprout alfalfa seeds? You don't do it the same way we did the sunflower seeds, do you?
No. You see, you have two identical things. One is earth-grown, garden indoors we call it. The other one is strictly with water. Well, now you take this sunflower, this little seed you can hardly see.
The alfalfa.
Yes, they're very tiny. Now those seeds generally has to be soaked only about 5 hours because they're tiny. And then, you see what I do, I have a screen on top of this kind of jar. And when I put the seed after soaking, then what I do, I wash them twice a day. You see, this much seed brings...
You fasten this screen on this jar.
Yeah,
the seeds have soaked, you then...
Yes. So
you then pour out the water.
Tiny seed here, then they're just soaked.
They wouldn't fill this jar. This jar is sprouted, so the seeds have grown and, of course, filled up the jar. But you would fill the seeds.
No, there would be about 2 tablespoons seed there. That's
in
all.
This whole jar.
This much seed. There'd be a whole jar. This much.
Okay. So these would be lying on the bottom of the jar. They would have been soaked.
And then you wash it twice a day.
Then you turn them upside down, let it drain.
Yes.
You pour more water in twice a day, rinse them, keep pouring it upside down, and leave it upside down to drain in between times.
Right.
Does it need light?
No. This particular one, it has light because you see the chlorophyll formed already. This actually is about 6-7 days old.
But you don't need to put this in a cupboard or something?
No, you don't need to do anything except keep it, moist and in a warm place like you would live your own self. That's important.
So in 7 days you've grown your alfalfa seeds.
Yes, with water.
Now it'll be a little hard to explain. Go into the fermentation.
Well, fermentation is one of the greatest, I think, in this age of denaturing the body from enzymes in many different ways, you see. Number one is cooking. Number two, people eat too much acid things.
What are acids?
Well, let's say your body can become acid when you drink too much coffee. Smoking can make your body denatured of enzymes. Many things. Because the enzymes are very sensitive, very, very sensitive. So the enzyme at this time is very essential for people when they're sick, especially, or want to keep healthy, of course. Now, you take sunflower, we're talking about, we might as well explain how we do it. Very simple, of course. If you take sunflower, soaking just say 5-6 hours and put it in a blender and blend it, and leave that sort of a mayonnaise consistency with water, of course you blend it, and that mayonnaise consistency left for a whole night or 1 day.
Outside at room temperature?
Room temperature in the kitchen. You have fermentation.
And which is sort of a sour bubbliness. It almost turns into yogurt or beer, right?
It's more or less, no, because beer more likely has alcohol, but this does not. This is very, very mild, and it is fermented, cultured, we call it. That's a better word, maybe you like it, because fermented, maybe people think it's sour.
Well, but they
should not be sour.
They might taste it and think, oh, this isn't right.
It cannot be sour. I discovered this by accident, this business, because I was making this huge, big containers of sunflower cream for salads. And in summer, it happened to be very warm, and the time almost to serve this sauce with a salad, I noticed, as you say, be in a bubble. So what I did, and naturally to throw away, I was going to, but then I said to myself, I'm going to eat it and see how it feels. I've always been a guinea pig, so I might as well continue. And so the reason I wanted to test it, because I never could eat sunflower seed blended that way, because it never agreed with me. So I ate that as much as half a cup, which is more than I should eat, just to prove to myself how it felt. It felt great, just absolutely great. After a while, I knew that this was perfect because I've always had digestion problem. So I said, this is it. So we served it, and sometimes you put a little beet juice over it to make it colorful. And ever since that, we've been using it with a great, great success.
Now, did you find that there were added benefits that you didn't really know about it? 'Cause
I
you
had
found
it
it was
tested.
easier to
I had it
digest,
tested.
but what
Pre-digested protein. Pre-digested protein with amino acids, which is so easy to assimilate, extremely easy. That was the key to help people, sick people, to have protein, because they couldn't assimilate raw sunflower seeds or any other perhaps protein.
Do you suggest serving that with sprouts to round out the meal?
Yes, and you can decorate up with the various kinds of herbs, or you can put some soy sauce on it, or you could put beet juice, make it colorful. Oh, so many things you can do with it to variety sake.
Now, the basis of I think if somebody had to say one word, Ann Wigmore, and then say one word, they'd say wheatgrass. The basis of your healing process is wheatgrass, isn't it? Can you tell us what it is?
I wouldn't say that completely, because at this present time, I embrace the living food, and the wheatgrass becomes a therapy, sort of one. Because when I first discovered wheatgrass, its benefits scientifically, about 12 years ago, I thought there was nothing else mattered. See.
You did.
Because I saw and I read about it, and after testing it, what it is, it's a new age medicine, food medicine. It is so fantastic. I could go on and on, perhaps an hour, telling you about it, what it does. But then I discovered also that by using the living food, especially sprouts and the fermented foods and the juices, that the body was able to heal itself 3 times faster than originally.
Than using just the wheatgrass.
Right. And that's why I had...
But this is still a very...
Oh, it's tremendous. It's actually tremendous. But I say again, to work with the other is the perfect way to build a health, to cleanse the body and rebuild it.
Can you describe, we have 5 minutes left. We're looking at what to most people would be grass, and indeed it is. How is it grown? The same?
Well, again, I explained a little bit about sprouts. Now I say, this has happened to be just plain ordinary little dish. It doesn't matter if you use a tray, like I show you the sunflower. All one needs is earth, and moisten the earth at that. Soaking the seeds overnight, completely covering the whatever dish. This happens to be paper. And then putting either paper, wet paper over the top, or identical dish to keep it there for 3 days.
In.
And that's all there is to it. And you can use any kind of other buckwheat. You can use growing the radish, same way.
Really?
Even alfalfa, you can do the same thing.
Lentils?
Lentils.
Chickpeas?
Yes.
Everything.
But there's 3 things, the wheatgrass, the sunflower, and the buckwheat, which got frozen, does the best of anything. They're really the key to our growing indoor gardens.
Well, now we let these little sprouts, and I must say I have grown this. You take the cover off after 3 or 4 days, and you've got little white, very strong-looking sprouts of grass, still white, bleached.
Yes, because they haven't had any
about
sun.
1 inch high. You let it just sit there and keep it moist but not soaking wet, and then in 7 days you have this grass.
Yeah.
Then what do you do with it?
Well, you can, for one thing, you can do, by the way, chewing is wonderful. I'm going to give the girls some to chew on later.
Well,
you know, a lot of young people right now, they still eating that, chewing, smoking the grass. So I always tell them, no, but this has more energy. This is the real stuff. This can give energy, where the other lets you down after a while. Now, this can be done in just like you're chewing gum. You chew it, discard the pulp. And believe me, after the show, you're going to try it to see, how wonderful and sweet it is. And that's one of the ways. Then we juice it and use it for various kinds of things. If I cut my finger, it was bleeding, I put it in the chlorophyll. In a matter of seconds, will stop the bleeding and start healing, and all kinds of things you can do with it.
Well,
the other day somebody had a very serious toothache. she juiced the chlorophyll, left it there on this very aching tooth, and in a matter of seconds it stopped aching.
You mean the body absorbs the chlorophyll?
No, you see what the problem was, that body was too acid. And it pressed against the nerves, caused that ache. The minute the chlorophyll touched it, counteracted, made it alkaline, and immediately stopped the pain.
We don't have time to go into the acid alkaline, and I'd like to this time. As I understand it, there's a scientific basis to wheatgrass being a blood purifier and a builder,
Yes.
and that is that the chlorophyll molecule is almost identical to
Yes.
the red blood?
Yes, the
So-
healthy blood, I hope you have.
The hemoglobin molecule, except that this has magnesium, the
Yeah.
grass, and thus is green, and the hemoglobin molecule has iron, and thus the red blood.
Right.
Therefore, drinking this diluted and in moderation, because it's very strong, is a blood builder.
It's not only blood builder, but it's cleansing too, because that's very essential to do two things at once.
Now, I understand we have 1 minute left.
Yeah.
This has some of the properties of Laetrile.
Well, yes, it has. A lot of people assume that you must get it from so and so, but the vitamin B12 and the whatever the
The B17, or?
B17 as in sprouts as well as in your wheatgrass. Of course.
It is.
Oh, definitely. And this is what the beauty of it is, because it's live. You see, it's not denatured in any way, and it has other elements to go with it. So that means the body gets healthy, balanced.
Our time's up. If you'll all watch next week, we're just going to continue this discussion on the next program. Thank you for being with us today, Ann Wigmore. The program is Personalities. I'm Jessie Gray. Have a good week.